Okay, so I gotta rescue my uncle, but I'm not too sure how to find him, so let's go to this island, right? But first I gotta talk to the chief, and then I gotta get some clues from a parrot, and then I'm helping these dolphins, and all the time I'm sneaking through graveyards and shooting zombies and blasting monsters. Then my sub cracks up on the rocks, and then the next thing I know I'm cruising inside a whale. Whoa! Oh, new game from Nintendo, man! Startropics! Every chapter's like another adventure, so it's like a whole slew of games in one.
Holy crap, what an awesome NES game. For those of you who don't know, Startropics was a Zelda-esque platformer designed for the US and European countries only. Now, why this is still a little bit of a mystery, but it's pretty safe to assume that Nintendo's aim here was to create a game that was intended for the US market. Because up until this point, very few other games were designed that way. Typically, they were made with a Japanese audience in mind, and then later shipped out to other countries to see if they'd stick. And so, with this little experiment being done within the US market, Startropics was born on December 1990, directed by Ginyo Takoda, who also developed the very awesome Punch-Out series. It was a game that had everything that a gamer would need, but apparently none knew that they wanted. For its time, it had vibrant, detailed graphics, excellent and intuitive gameplay, and something that was a little uncommon during the NES days, story. It even had a little hook to it. I'm sure most of you already know this at this point, but Startropics came with a letter inside the box. Now, when you got to a certain point of the game, you needed that letter to progress. And the reason for that is that there's a secret hidden code on the letter that you had to dip in warm water to reveal. Many gamers were stumped at this point, because also many gamers rented this game from Blockbuster without any instructions. I was fortunate enough to have bought this game new, and I was fortunate enough to binge play this game long enough to be able to retrieve the box out of the garbage can so I could actually use this letter. Now, I know what you're thinking. Gimmicky, nostalgic trips are not what makes a good game, and you're absolutely right. Just like any other classic franchise like Zelda, Mario, Earthbound, they can be appreciated on layers. It's not just one hook. Fans of these franchises can list off many things that they like, and not just one. Startropics is just like that. You know, one fan might say that their most fond memory was the engaging boss fights, while another might say, yeah, that's good and everything, but what really kept me going was the humor. Or maybe you know some of the proud few who actually beat the game. I know my favorite aspect of Startropics is the adventure itself. It's definitely one of the most unique I've ever experienced on the NES, and unfortunately, better than a lot of games I've played today. So that leaves a big question then. Why didn't Startropics do well? I mean, sure, it got a sequel, but both games were a commercial failure. And I think it has to be attributed to two things. One, it was an unestablished franchise, and sometimes even just being a good game is not enough. And that's actually what Nintendo Power themselves thought was the reason. And two, it was needlessly difficult. I mean, you had pits that killed you instantly, you had game overs that would set you all the way back at the beginning of the dungeon, you had no recovery time, enemies could just swarm you. It was rough, and no one besides a show-off would be able to deny that. It really was harder than it needed to be. But if you stuck with it, you had an experience that was unlike anything else. It has heart, it has humor, and the developers clearly had a sense of imagination. And what's more important is that it's ours. I'm talking about us, the US and the European market. This is our game. Sure, we might complain that we don't get Mother 3, or some of the older Fire Emblem games, but this is a game that Japan can't get their hands on, and that should be something that's celebrated. The game came out on the Wii Virtual Console, and if you haven't picked it up already, I highly recommend that you do. Even if you've bought it on the NES before, even if you've beaten the game, buy it. Show Nintendo that you care. We don't hear from Mike Jones anymore because Nintendo looks at the sales figures and thinks that we don't like this game anymore, and it's up to us to prove them wrong. Thanks for watching.